I thought I'd stolen my best friend's boyfriend, until he revealed the revenge plot that could destroy us all. Hope what happened to me lands as both a caution and a comfort to anyone who needs it. I lost my parents early in an accident, they said, so my mum's sister and her husband took me in. They were kind but cash-strapped, the sort of folks who can fix anything except a broken bank account. After elementary school, I had to quit because the nearest high school was clear across the county line, and without a car, you might as well be crossing the moon. So I did what country kids do. I worked. I picked produce, washed dishes, stocked shelves, anything that paid, hoarding every dime in a coffee can so one day I could finish school. The day I turned 14, I hugged my aunt and uncle goodbye, boarded a rattle-trap bus, and pointed myself toward the city lights of Chicago. I was chasing the same two-part dream most broke kids chase, a diploma and a way out of poverty. City life was brutal. My grocery store paycheck barely covered the cubby-sized room I crashed in each night, and loneliness hit hard between those cinder-block walls. That's when Maya walked into my life. To be honest, I couldn't stand her at first. Maya was the campus knockout, porcelain skin, perfect hair, designer jeans, a swipe of lipstick that always matched her manicure. Rich girl vibes a mile wide. I figured she'd never even see me, much less speak to me, except maybe to ask where the sale rack was. But one afternoon everything flipped. I was stocking soup cans when I heard a commotion in the next aisle. Some jerk had cornered Maya, hurling crude, skin-crawling comments. Customers just stared, frozen. Something in me snapped. Before I knew it, I was between them, voice shaking but loud, telling him to back off or I'd call security. He glared, cursed, and stormed out. Maya was shaking like a leaf. I walked her to the break room, handed her a bottle of water, and for the first time saw past the flawless makeup to the frightened 20-year-old underneath. She thanked me through tears, and that single moment rewrote everything I'd assumed about her. From then on, Maya and her parents became my lifeline. They treated me like family, insisted I crash on their couch when my rented bunk felt too empty, stuffed homemade lasagna into my hands whenever I looked especially tired. For the first time since childhood, I felt what it was like to belong somewhere. I never could have guessed how complicated all of that would become, or how the bond we forged that day would drag us both into choices neither of us was ready to face. But that's the chapter I'm opening for you now, hoping my mistakes and miracles might light someone else's path. That's where my story really begins. It was just after 7 on a drizzly Thursday night when the whole thing started to unravel. Classes were done, most students had scattered back to dorms or ride shares, and I was hoofing it toward my rented room after waiting out the storm at a classmate's apartment. The rain had quit, but it left behind that slick, mud-smelling hush you only hear in half-lit streets when nobody's around. I'd barely made it 3 blocks when I sensed footsteps behind me. Slow at first, then matching my pace. My pulse spiked. I cut down a side alley, head down, shoes sloshing through puddles, just wanting light and people. That's when I caught the faintest cry for help, muffled and hoarse, drifting from a boarded-up warehouse the college kept meaning to bulldoze. Without thinking, I slipped through a gap in the plywood and followed the sound. A single candle flickered on a cracked windowsill, and in that wavering glow I froze. Maya, the same Maya everyone envied, pinned against a stack of crates by 3 men. I recognized them instantly, the Talbot brothers, heirs to a local political dynasty, untouchable on campus because money and last names still buy silence. My body moved before my brain, 2 steps toward her, fists clenched, then a hand clamped over my mouth and yanked me backward into the shadows. "Don't make a sound," a voice hissed. When we reached the alley, the hand dropped and moonlight hit the face of Leonard, the new transfer student, breathing hard. "You saw who that was, right?" "The Talbots," he said, eyes flicking to the street. "Act like you never came this way. Those guys can end you without lifting a finger." I wanted to scream, to call 911, to do anything except stand there shaking, but fear flooded in. One headline about some nobody grocery store clerk challenging the Talbot name. My life savings, my whole future, could disappear overnight. So I let Leonard drag me home, every step echoing with Maya's stifled sobs. The guilt nearly ate me alive. For days I walked campus choking on secrets, and it only got worse when photos of Maya that night started circulating. Grainy shots, but clear enough. Overnight, she went from campus royalty to pariah. People whispered, judged, avoided her like she carried contagion. Even her own parents tightened the reins, half believing gossip about wild partying instead of what was stolen from her. One afternoon I found her alone on a bench under the oldest oak in the quad, eyes blank, face blotchy. I don't know if it was pity or penance, but I sat beside her and handed over the extra roll I'd bought from the cafeteria. "Eat something," I said. "Crying on an empty stomach's brutal." "Save your charity," she muttered without looking up. "I'm not being charitable," I lied. "I'm hungry. You're hungry. Humor me." She studied me, suspicion giving way to fragile curiosity. Finally, she tore the bread in half and passed the bigger piece back to me. That was the first crack in the wall she'd built around herself. I couldn't give her justice, I was too scared, but I could give her companionship. I walked her to class, sat through her panic attacks, pretended not to see the tremor in her hands whenever a group of guys laughed too loudly nearby. Slowly the makeup disappeared, the designer clothes took a back seat, and the real Maya emerged. Quiet but sharp, funny in a deadpan way, tougher than anyone I'd ever met. Her parents noticed too. One Sunday her mum cornered me in their foyer, casserole dish in hand, and said, "Jamie, honey, you're wasting rent on that shoebox. We've got a guest room. Stay, please. Maya sleeps again when you're here." Pride sputtered for a second, but practicality won. I moved in 2 days later, chipping in groceries because they wouldn't take a dime of my paycheck. The quiet hum of their suburban home was the closest thing to family I'd felt in years. And Leonard, he became the third point of our lopsided triangle. He still walked me home from late shifts, still shared that look, half fear, half loyalty, whenever the Talbots swaggered past. Knowing he'd witnessed the same horror bound us tight, like siblings who survived a fire no one else smelled. We'd sprawl on Maya's bedroom floor, passing around contraband chocolate Leonard swiped from the campus cafe. "Must be nice," Maya teased one night, collapsing onto her comforter. "Jamie's mailbox is a desert, mine's stuffed with care packages." "Easy fix," Leonard said, tossing me a king-size bar. "When she's a high-powered executive, she'll buy us a mountain of these." "Deal," I laughed, even though the idea felt light years away. Sometimes jealousy flickered. Maya's college fund, her doting parents, the safety net I could only dream about. But then I'd remember the warehouse, the photos, the way people crossed the sidewalk to avoid her, and any envy curled up and died. She'd trade it all to erase that night. I kept my promise to myself. I didn't let her sink. We studied together, hit the gym, memorized each other's schedules. If whispers started in the hallway, I aimed my stare at the culprits until they faltered. Leonard did the same. And in protecting her, I found pieces of myself I didn't know existed. Steel in my spine, fire in my gut, a voice that finally felt worth hearing. I still dream about the candlelight and the crates and the choice I made to run, but the nightmares sting less when Maya laughs beside me or when Leonard nudges my shoulder, calling me little sis, even though we're the same age. I don't know if justice will ever catch up to the Talbot brothers. Maybe power really does keep some monsters cloaked. But here's what I've learned. Silence can bury a soul, and friendship, messy, complicated, hand-trembling friendship, can haul it back into the light. That's the confession I needed to make, not because it ties up neatly, but because telling it aloud finally lets me breathe. If you're carrying something heavy tonight, I hope this pushes you to share it too. Secrets rot in the dark, stories heal in the open. Life felt whole again, with Maya and Leonard orbiting the same little universe as me. Most days we moved like a three-man relay team, classes, shifts, late-night study marathons, fueled by diner coffee and grocery store muffins. I was happy, happier than I'd been since childhood. Then everything cracked. I was filing purchase orders at work one afternoon when Maya called, sobbing so hard I could barely catch words between hiccups. Leonard had walked her home, and her dad, still raw from the scandal that nearly torpedoed the family's reputation, caught them at the porch. Humiliation flashed into fury. He cussed Leonard out and all but shoved him off the property. After that, nothing. Leonard ghosted. No calls, no texts, no campus sightings. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months. Maya's parents tightened curfews, and every time her phone buzzed, they demanded to know who was on the other end. Sophomore year ended, junior year rolled by, senior year slipped past. The seat Leonard used to keep warm in our lecture hall stayed empty. He never finished school. Rumor said he'd hopped on a plane and vanished into the oil fields somewhere overseas. God knows I took it hard. Losing him felt like someone had sawed off a limb without warning or anesthesia. I graduated high school with Maya, powered through a 2-year secretarial program while she majored in business management, and landed a receptionist job at a mid-size firm downtown. But no matter how loud Chicago got, some piece of me kept replaying his last "see you tomorrow," convinced he'd just forgotten the date. 3 years later, I was eating dinner with Maya's family when her dad bristled mid-bite. "Some guy came by the store today asking for a Leonard." "Maya, you know anything about that?" His glare ping-ponged from her to me. I shook my head. "No, sir, I don't know a Leonard." Maya stared at her plate. Her dad snorted. "Figures. Girl spends more time chatting up strangers than building a future. You should take notes from Jamie. Works hard, pays her own bills." Maya clenched her jaw but stayed quiet. We both knew arguing only fed the fire. Later, while I helped her scrape plates and load the dishwasher, she flashed me a secret smile and darted to her room. "Remember that Leonard Dad asked about?" she whispered, eyes sparkling. It was him. I nearly dropped a stack of bowls. "You've been talking to Leonard. For how long?" "Almost a month," she admitted, scrolling through her phone. "I wanted to surprise you." A cocktail of relief and hurt fizzed in my chest. Leonard had reached out, to Maya, not to me. Weren't he and I the closer pair once upon a time? Jealousy tasted metallic on my tongue, but I pasted on a grin. "A surprise," she said. A week later, Maya swung by my office right before closing. "Clock out, girl. Dinner's on me." "Stole from your parents' store again?" I teased, grabbing my jacket. "Allowance," she insisted, but the mischief in her eyes was unmistakable. She all but dragged me to a cozy, family-run Italian spot around the corner. My stomach growled at the smell of garlic and baked cheese, but my pulse hammered harder than my appetite could keep up. Maya steered me to a booth in the back. Someone stood when we approached, taller, broader, shoulders filling out a perfectly pressed button-down. For a heartbeat, my brain refused to connect the dots. Then, Jamie. The voice was deeper, but achingly familiar. Leonard. He pulled me into a hug so tight my knees wobbled. Gone was the skinny kid in second-hand hoodies. This man had forearms like steel cables, a short fade, confidence radiating from a smile straight out of a teeth-whitening ad. My breath hitched. He smelled like cedar and jet fuel, like travel and second chances. We slid into the booth. Leonard produced a king-size chocolate bar, my forever weakness, and set it in front of me. "Still your favorite," he said. "Thanks," I croaked, peeling the wrapper with trembling fingers. Across the table, Maya nudged him playfully. "Hey, why does Jamie get all the sweets?" Leonard draped an arm around her shoulders. "Easy, girlfriend privileges." He kissed her temple. "Girlfriend." My stomach dropped to my shoes. I forced a smile so tight my cheeks cramped. "You two are together." "Official for a few weeks," Maya chirped, giddy. "Crazy, right?" "Crazy," I echoed, while the marinara suddenly tasted like ashes. I managed small talk. Leonard's 2-year stint on a drilling crew in Qatar, his plans to finish his degree online, Maya's internship offers, nodding in the right spots, laughing in all the wrong ones. Inside, jealousy punched holes straight through my ribcage. Because here's the ugly truth. Even after all these years, even after he vanished without goodbye, even with Maya sitting inches away, I still wasn't over Leonard. The crush I'd buried under term papers and overtime shifts roared back faster than I could swallow it. That night I lay in my studio apartment, city lights leaking through the blinds, chocolate bar half-eaten on the coffee table, and let reality sink in. Leonard belonged to Maya now, my best friend, my sister in everything except blood. And if I valued a decade of friendship, I had to lock my feelings in the vault and swallow the key. Does it hurt? Yeah. But confession stories aren't tidy bows, they're messy proof we're human. I can't rewrite the past or force fate to reroute. I can only decide who I'll be tomorrow. The kind of friend who celebrates Maya's happiness, or the one who lets envy burn every bridge I ever built. So I choose the harder path, love them both, swallow the ache, keep walking. Maybe someday that empty corner of my heart will fill with someone new. Maybe it won't. Either way, I'm still standing, still writing my story out loud because secrets rot in the dark and honesty, no matter how jagged, always finds the light. I wish I could say I rose above it, but the truth is, Maya and Leonard's new couple glow gutted me. They'd FaceTime me after dates, shoving the phone close so I could meet the cute barista or see the skyline from their rooftop dinner. I faked smiles until my cheeks cramped, then skipped meals, buried myself in overtime, and watched the scale nosedive. Everyone said I looked slim. They had no idea I felt carved out. I told myself distance was healthy, so I ghosted their texts, screened their calls, pretended work was the only relationship I needed. Weeks blurred into months, I stopped counting. Then, just past midnight on a rain-slick Tuesday, my phone buzzed. "Leonard, I need you. Please, help me." 4 words, 10 years of friendship detonated in my chest. An address followed, his new apartment on the south side. No context, no emojis, nothing. My heart hammered the whole Uber ride. The building was half lit, lobby buzzing with a flickering exit sign. I banged on his door, no answer. I tried the knob, unlocked. Inside, total darkness. The overhead switch clicked uselessly. Using my phone flashlight, I eased forward, then tripped over something warm and solid. "Easy," he groaned. I swung the light down. Leonard lay sprawled on the hardwood, eyes glassy, a half-empty whiskey bottle rolling away like a guilty witness. "What are you doing on the floor? Are you hurt?" "I'm not okay, Jamie." His voice cracked. I knelt, sweeping hair off his forehead. He was clammy, pupils blown. The moment the light hit him, those brown eyes locked on mine with a hunger that almost hurt to hold. "I miss you," he whispered, as if it were the only truth that mattered. "I miss you so damn much." Something inside me shattered. For months I'd rehearsed what I'd say if he ever chose me. Tough questions, angry speeches. Instead, I could only stare, throat burning. "I should go," I managed. "Maya's waiting for you to call." He grabbed my wrist, gently but with purpose. "Don't leave me. You know I love you, Jamie. You feel it too." The room tilted. Every sane thought, he's drunk. He's your best friend's boyfriend. Get out. Fought a losing battle against the pounding in my chest. "If you love me," I whispered, "why did you date her? Why not me?" I was stupid, scared. His hand slipped to my cheek. "Please don't walk away again." Before I could answer, his mouth closed over mine, soft, familiar, electric. I froze, then melted, then panicked all at once. My brain screamed betrayal, my heart sang finally. For a breathless moment, I let the kiss happen, drowning in every what-if I'd ever hidden. Then I pulled back, shaking. "This is wrong," I said, voice ragged. "If we do this, someone gets hurt, and it's Maya, Leonard." Maya. Tears welled in his eyes. "I'm already hurting her by lying." He swallowed hard. "But I can't lie to you anymore." Silence pooled between us, thick as the night. My flashlight beam quivered on the floorboards, catching the gold glint of the wrapper he'd brought to dinner months ago. My favorite chocolate, still unopened. I stared at it, at him, at the fork in our future. One path led to a love I'd craved for years, the other to loyalty that had defined half my life. Either way, something precious would break. And in that breathless, moon-dark apartment, I realized the next move was mine. I'm not proud of what happened next, only that it's the truest thing I've ever lived through. And if I'm going to confess, I can't gloss over the ugliest parts. The day Leonard called Maya his girlfriend, something inside me snapped. I'm not proud of what happened next, only that it's the truest thing I've ever lived through. And if I'm going to confess, I can't gloss over the ugliest parts. The day Leonard called Maya his girlfriend, something inside me snapped. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping, started working 12-hour shifts just so I wouldn't have to picture their late-night FaceTime calls. The weight slid off so fast, people called it a glow-up. They had no idea I was starving on jealousy. Weeks blurred into months. I ignored every good morning text from Maya, left every miss you bestie on read. If shutting her out was what it took to keep breathing, so be it. I need you, please. Then one stormy Friday, my phone lit up with Leonard's name. Leonard, I need you, please help me. Leonard, sending my address. Come now. I don't remember the Uber ride, only the thud of my pulse. His apartment was dark, door unlocked. I fumbled for a light switch, dead. My phone's flashlight cut a narrow cone through the room. I tripped over an outstretched hand. Careful, he groaned from the floor. Leonard, what are you doing down there? Are you hurt? I'm not okay, Jamie. His eyes caught the light, wide, glassy, desperate. I miss you. I miss you so damn much. My heart slammed against my ribs. You need to go home. Maya's waiting. Don't leave me, he whispered. You know I love you. You feel it too. Before I found words, his mouth covered mine. I should have pulled away, but the kiss tasted like every wish I'd buried since high school. Conscience shouted betrayal. My body answered finally. That night a line was crossed, burned and buried. We became experts at hiding, coffee shop bathrooms, dimly lit parking decks, an Airbnb 2 towns over where no one knew our names. Around him I felt chosen, irreplaceable, the only woman in the room. I let myself believe that made it right. The guilt of sharing a roof with Maya was too much. I told her work was too far and moved out. She hugged me goodbye, completely unaware that her sister was pocketing her boyfriend's motel receipts. For months I ghosted every call she sent. I told myself her cheery voicemails were fake anyway, that Maya breezed through life getting everything she wanted while I scraped for leftovers. That lie helped me sleep at night. Then one afternoon her name lit my screen. Maya. Jamie, I need you. Maya, I'm pregnant. It's Leonard's. The room spun. I drove straight to Leonard's apartment, adrenaline shaking my hands on the wheel. Explain, I demanded the second he opened the door. He didn't even flinch, just smiled. Yeah, she's pregnant. You think this is funny? If you wanted a kid so badly, why didn't you get me pregnant? Relax, he said, eyes flat. I don't plan on claiming that baby. My stomach turned. What are you talking about? His shoulders dropped, voice low and eerily calm. Long game, Jamie. The photos of her back in high school, the pregnancy, all planned. I'm going to wreck her, same way her family wrecked mine. The words knocked the air out of me. You planned this? To hurt Maya? He nodded like we were discussing a grocery list. You and me, we come out on top. She loses everything. I felt the floor tilt. The boy who once shielded me from darkness had become the darkness. That was the moment the fog lifted. I saw every wrong turn that led me there, every unread text, every secret kiss, every night I chose desire over decency. I'd traded my best friend's trust for a man whose love came with a body count. So here I am, staring at 2 doors. Door 1, keep Leonard's secret, stay his accomplice, watch Maya's life burn, and pretend I can live with the smoke. Door 2, tell her everything, every motel, every whisper, every plan, and pray she'll still believe I ever loved her at all. By the time you hear this, I'll have chosen. Maybe I'll walk into the light and lose the man I thought I couldn't live without. Maybe I'll stay in the dark and lose the woman who once called me sister. Either way, something breaks tonight. And that, dear listener, is the price of wanting what was never mine to begin with. Leonard's confession poured out in a single breath, wild-eyed and shaking. Maya's dad ruined my life. He's my biological father. He gave Maya's family everything, left my mom and me sleeping in shelters while his adopted daughter grew up in a 5-bedroom house. I swore I'd make him feel that same emptiness, and Maya was my leverage. I felt the room spin. All along, I'd pictured Leonard as the broken boy who needed saving. Instead, he'd been staging a slow-burn revenge plot, and I was the easiest pawn on the board. Why us? I whispered. Why drag me into this? Because you loved me, he said, voice soft, almost gentle. And I needed someone who'd swallow the guilt for me. A cold wave of clarity rolled over me. Every kiss, every late-night secret, every whispered I love you had been fuel for his anger, not proof of ours. I walked out that night numb from head to toe, cabbing straight to Mr. Talbot's hardware store before I could lose my nerve. Behind a dusty stockroom door, I told him everything. Leonard's birth certificate, the hidden affair, the pregnancy plot, the photos, all of it. The truth shattered him. The man who'd always spoken in steel-edged sentences crumpled with sobs I never knew he had. Mrs. Talbot's heart gave out 3 days later. Guilt, grief, call it whatever you want. The doctors simply wrote myocardial infarction. Funeral lilies still smelled like formaldehyde when Mr. Talbot packed up the house and moved Maya overseas to start fresh. She never knew why, she just assumed her dad needed distance from Chicago's ghosts. I let her believe it. Some secrets, once unburied, only cause new graves. Leonard disappeared. No forwarding address, no social media breadcrumbs, nothing. Part of me hopes he found peace. Part of me prays he finally looked in a mirror and saw the wreckage he caused. Maya and I video chat every Sunday. She calls me her forever sister, and I answer like I deserve the title. I'm godmother to her little girl. Yes, Leonard's daughter. And that child's laugh is the softest justice I can imagine. As for me, one late summer morning, I stared at a positive pregnancy test and realized the story wasn't over. The son Leonard left me with is 12 now, all legs and curiosity. He's got his father's caramel eyes, but none of his darkness. Most nights we do homework at the kitchen table, make pancakes for dinner, and dance to old Motown on a scratchy Bluetooth speaker. It's not the life I dreamed of, but it's ours, and it's honest. I kept Mr. Talbot's old promise too. College degree, steady corporate job, health insurance, a tiny condo I can almost afford. Some evenings, when Chicago's skyline blinks like a circuit board beyond my balcony, I wonder if Leonard's out there somewhere staring at the same stars. Then my boy yells, "Mum, come look at this." And the past fades into white noise. Envy is a hungry thing. Feed it once, and it will swallow whole friendships. Secrets grow teeth. They protect you until the day they bite straight through your own skin. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's choosing not to bleed every time the memory surfaces. Maya still sees me as the one person who'd never betray her. Maybe that's a lie I'll carry to my grave, or maybe it's proof people can change so completely the past version of them feels like a stranger. Either way, this is my confession. If you're listening tonight with a heart full of jealousy or a mouth half open to a secret kiss, remember my story and ask yourself how much truth you're willing to burn for a taste of something that was never yours. Thanks for hearing me out. Jamie, Chicago, Illinois.